14 minutes past 8.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
It's live from a campground in Christchurch, Papanui, in fact. G'day there, T-Radar.
Sunny Papanui, except it isn't. It's slightly drizzly, and there's an enormous number of Maui vans here.
Well, I suppose it's getting to that season where the somewhat, they call them road bandits, hit the streets.
That's right, yes, and I just saw a camper van drive past with a couple of bicycles on the back, and I thought, my God, as tourists, could you be any more annoying?
Or any more cliche?
Right in front of me, yes. Yes, you know, the song that you just played just reminded me of the Chills, because they've just reformed, obviously, and done a 30-year concert down in there in Dunedin. And I had a friend, big fan of New Zealand music. He's been around, grew up in Dunedin the whole time. I went, oh, did you go to it? Mate, it was $25 and it sold out straight away. And he said, I wouldn't go, $25. He said, last time I went and saw the Chills, it was $5. $25? You got to be joking. I know, I love Dunedin.
Inflation, anyone? Hello?
Inflation, that's right, yes. But clearly not affecting this. I think there's a group here at the campground of 35 Dutch camper vans all in a row. They've hired like a fleet of them, and they're travelling around the country as a group of Dutchies.
Wow. Good luck.
Holiday.
Good luck passing that.
Exactly. A little stretch from here to Riccarton and back, I would imagine, by the time they get on the road and get lined up ready to go.
And how's your accommodation?
I'm in a deluxe suite.
Deluxe?
Yes, which I think they use the word deluxe because it means it has its own amenities.
Oh, of course.
I don't have to share like an institutional shower block.
Yeah.
Yeah, very pleasant though.
Oh, that's all right.
Not to lie in bed and watch the news.
Oh, yeah. So you're abreast of the issues this morning.
I'm abreast of the issues, and I had to be frank, when I lied there, I went, geez, there's not a lot of issues today, is there?
Well,
the political issue of the day was Phil Goff getting someone's name wrong in a speech.
Oh, really? What happened there? I didn't hear about that.
Well, he was delivering his big sort of final economic speech of the year, and he said, my finance minister, David Cagle, etc., etc., but he said that David Cagle retired from Parliament 15 years ago, and his finance minister is, in fact, David Cunliffe, and that was the thing that the media chose to dwell on for quite a long time, and then they even justified, Guy and Espiner was on the news, justifying why it was that this was so important to dwell on.
Why? What was the reason that he gave?
Well, apparently it's something to do with the fact that, if you can't remember who your finance minister is, how can you run the country? And it's like, well, as Phil Goff rightly pointed out, at least he didn't stand up as John Key did at the National Party conference and said, I will be, the next leader of the Labour government.
Yeah, exactly. And
he could be. He'd be a very good.
And so
a very good leader of the Labour government.
Who was that? It wasn't Duncan Garner. No, it was Guy and Espiner.
Yeah, Guy and Espiner.
Oh, well, shame on Guy and Espiner for concentrating on that, as opposed to what is really one of the more important issues at the moment. This new SIS bill that's being drafted.
Exactly. There were various sort of new powers to the SIS coming through for internet snooping and various other things. And the problem with it is the person who's sort of railing against it is Keith Locke. And Keith's problem is that whenever Keith Locke starts speaking, everyone says, well, if Keith Locke is against it, it must be good for the country.
Yeah.
And then they immediately disregard it, and laws are passed in haste. I find it odd that we have to sort of upgrade our security intelligence service in order to have the World Cup.
Well, that's right, and that's what annoys me about events like the World Cup, because they're used as excuses by governments to ram through legislation and say to the people, we can all much be safer during the World Cup, but the legislation exists forever, not just for the World Cup.
That's right. What are they doing? Are they going to declare sort of the English, Australian and South African rugby teams potential threats to the security of the nation, and thus allow spying of them by our intelligence service to get their secrets in case we lose the World Cup and bring about some kind of economic and social carnage? And
of course, this has nothing to do with the World Cup. This has everything to do with Hillary Clinton's recent visit to New Zealand.
Is it really?
Of course it is.
You really do work in some quite important circles, don't you?
Well, it's just, she was here, obviously. There were talks, and a lot of that would have been about America's security, because they don't give a damn about New Zealand's security or us or anything. It's all about keeping them secure and being part of the network. Gosh, now I'm starting to sound like Keith Locke.
You sound like Keith Locke.
I know, unfortunate, isn't it?
I know, I was drifting off.
But come on, T-Radar, this is...
No, you're right.
I mean, for sure we live in a new world where there's new types of communication and everything, and perhaps the SIS needs to evolve with that. But
does it need to be rushed through?
Does it need to be rushed through?
The use of the World Cup as a justification? No, it doesn't.
No.
But I think we're probably a little bit more secure than seals at the moment. That was the other big story of the news, of course. Outrage. Someone's clubbed a whole lot of seals to death. It was the lead story. There was carnage. There was tears. Terrible thing, to be fair. But gosh, I don't know if it sort of there was a wonderful letter on the TV news this morning. Someone said they should find out who this person is, they're psychologically damaged, and remove their children from them. Yes.
I saw a lot of Facebook stuff about that. No doubt there's a group. I avoided the group, but no doubt there is one. Death to the seal clubbers, I think would be.
I suspect there would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a terrible thing. Have you ever been there up to Ohau and seen the
No, but we
seals
spoke to you from Kaikoura, and you'd just been there.
Oh, look, one of the greatest things you'll ever see in the world. I'm not sure if they're there at the moment. I think whether they finish in September or not, but maybe they are, because there was some baby seals club. So, look, again, I can only repeat, if anyone is driving up the Kaikoura coast, perhaps some of the Dutchies and their Maui camper fans, I might recommend to them to stop off there at the little creek there and head up to the waterfall and just watch the seals, full of the joy of life. And all of this news about spying and about political intrigue and economic policy, it'll all just drift away with the sheer sort of joy of the seals frolicking in a pool.
Until you leave that pool, head up further up the road, and you look across the paddock and you see a cow.
Yes, now outnumber us apparently. More cows than people. Historic day. I'm surprised that Fonterra hasn't petitioned for a national holiday.
Is that something to celebrate, T-Radar? More cows than people?
I'm not entirely sure. We were talking about it this morning, obviously, because we're out sort of filming a new sustainable living series, and we're talking about the fact that palm oil is one of the things we're going to be looking at, and the palm kernel extracts, of course, being brought over here to feed the cows. And you think, well, here we are, we're heading into another drought, the third in the Waikato in 5 years. Taranaki's dry, other parts of the country are dry, there's nothing left to feed the cows. And you think, well, we'll feed them wheat. But in a lot of the wheat in Australia, of course, just been wiped out. They've had 10 years of drought and now unprecedented flooding. Yeah. It's wiping it all out. So it's kind of like, well, what do we do? What do we do about it? Do we radically de-stock? The farmer's going to want to do that. And then there's obviously, 4 million cows. There's the water issues. So it's a sort of a question the country is going to have to address more seriously in the next few years.
Well, yeah. Well, when you get out of your deluxe accommodation there, you don't have to go far, of course, to see some of the unsustainable farming practices going on the Canterbury Plains at the moment with dairy farming. No.
We drove through yesterday. There was a light drizzle going, and all of the irrigation systems were working away, beavering away, as they did. So sucking the water up from there to irrigate. And it's all well and good while there's sort of enough of it, but the day will come. Water wars, that's what we're looking at, and the concept of virtual water. Yep. That's the future. What do we do with water? Suddenly it's just not this thing that you pump out of the ground. It's a valuable commodity.
Are you predicting we'll be fighting cows in the future, T-Radar?
I don't know if we'll be fighting them, but we might be stroking them in a sort of a less than friendly manner.
But all they need to do is stare at us, surely, with their big, beautiful eyes.
And we just melt.
Yeah.
We melt into the pools of their lovely brown eyes.
And then they'll
be so evil.
And then they'll club us to death with their hoofs.
They will, with their hoofs.
Hoofs.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
In the meantime, I'll stand in the slight drizzle and just watch the ducks. They don't have any issues. They don't have any cares. They're just sitting around thinking life is great.
Not until duck shooting season.
Exactly. There's one only less than a metre from me. Having a lovely day.
You have a lovely day.
We'll speak again next week.
See ya.